Why aren't we striking? We're boycotting companies and corporations. But, why aren't we striking? I know. Because we can't take care of ourselves. It always goes back to the fact that we don't take care of ourselves. And I'm gonna just keep it 100. Whether we realize it or not, unless you are some sort of survivalist, Americans, we are very short-sighted. Americans can be very short-sighted. And a lot of the time, that line of logic that Americans follow is very theatrical. Hollywood has done its job. Hollywood's entire purpose was to define the way things are supposed to look for you. The way you define things. They define things for you. And so what ends up happening is that Americans end up being short-sighted because you get wrapped up in the high points of ideas and concepts like striking, right? You know all the beneficial things that would do. However, what about the other side of that coin? Because there's absolutely another side of that coin. If America was to strike, it would absolutely stop eventually. Wouldn't stop it immediately, but it would stop this beast from doing what it's been doing. But it would knock over a lot of dominoes. A lot of dominoes that Americans do not think about. That's the short-sightedness. So, let's say we did strike. Enough of us went on strike to where the beast stopped moving. Well, you know what that means? That means no services. There's less electricity, fuel, water, food, all those things that I keep talking about. That's why there's no strike. That's why there's not likely to be a strike. That's why it's not likely that the beast will stop doing what it's doing over there, and everywhere else it's got its tentacles deep in the fucking countries of other places. That's why none of this stuff is gonna stop. Because they know that you, as Americans, are so accustomed to the waiter bringing the food to your face. And I'm gonna just keep it a buck here. Americans value lifestyle over life. Americans value their lifestyle over the life of others. This is why we have been all on board with what they've been doing for so long, because they were bringing back the spoils. Americans don't care unless it begins to affect their lifestyle. And that is just honest to God. Sounds shitty to say it, but that is the raw truth of the mindset of an American. They value their lifestyle over the life of someone else, especially outside of the borders. There is not likely going to be a strike. Not one significant enough. Unless people learn to take care of themselves. If you are striking, what are you going to do in the interim? What if a strike completely disables this beast and it doesn't get back up and running the way it used to? Talk about a lifestyle change. And if it were to stay down long enough, that would be life. That would be life for some people. I am not suggesting that we shouldn't strike. I've been sitting around. I wasn't going to say it because I knew people weren't ready. But I'm starting to see it. But if you cannot take care of yourself, none of this shit stops. None of it stops. They want you in this screen, getting wrapped up emotionally in what's going on and being depleted. And they know you're not going to go take care of yourself. That's why they can do what they do. They knew you weren't going to like this. They knew there was going to be a bunch of people who didn't like this. But you think they didn't have to worry about you. They didn't have to worry about me. They didn't have to worry about any of us. Because they know that Americans want the waiter to bring the food to their table. They don't want to have to do the food. They don't want to have to learn about food themselves. They don't want to grow it. No. So while a strike would be incredibly effective, not if you can't take care of yourself. And moving on to the communities idea, communities are the way forward. However, if I had a community, or if I was starting a community today, I would vet people. And there are people right now who are starting communities, who do have communities, and you better bet your ass they vet people. Because what kind of sense would it make for me to allow someone in my community who refused to take care of themselves? That person would be a liability and a burden instead of an asset. What sort of skills do you have? Because school didn't teach us anything. And a lot of the jobs that we have aren't beneficial in a community, not a small community. Everything's about fucking entertainment and convenience in this country. What sort of knowledge do you have? Like, it's going to keep coming back to the same thing, because this is literally why they know they can do whatever they want to do. Because they know Americans choose lifestyle over life. But let me tell you something. We have been boycotting these companies. And if you don't know, all these companies route back to just a handful of companies. Do you think that these companies are going to let this ride? These are the same CEOs, billionaires, millionaires, who were already saying that they wanted to take the unemployment rate up to 40% to make us feel the pressure. Because after COVID, we got full of ourselves thinking that we were the prize, and they wanted to create the conditions to make us desperate enough to remember that it is a prize that we have a job, that we are not, in fact, the important bit, that we need them, not the other way around. So do you think those same people, those same corporations are going to take kindly to boycotting and losing millions? I doubt it. I doubt it. I highly doubt it. So a strike is great. It would be great. But they know you're not going to do it because you literally can't. What would you do in the interim? It all goes back to the same thing. The communities, all of it goes back to the same thing. Being able to take care of yourself. And I know there are some amongst you that are so young, you barely keeping your head above water. If that. So, I get it. You guys never fucking got a chance. But there are a lot of other people who are of an age, who have been around long enough and have the resources to take some of that disposable income and start putting it into being able to take care of yourself if there were no services. Whether, again, that was for a natural disaster, a strike, anything. It always goes back to the same thing. Always back to the same thing. If they felt like you would take care of yourself, they would not do what they are doing. And side note, you can start communities. It's a good idea. You have to recognize, though, where you are in the world and what type of world we live in. And you may get some space. However, if this beast knows or sees that these communities are becoming successful, you think he's just going to walk on? No. No, he's going to stomp the fucking community out. And honestly, it doesn't even have to be the beast. Because there are so many people still plugged into this fucking matrix that will defend it. They defend the system. That it may be your fucking neighbors. Again, communities are worth it. But you have to start being realistic and stop thinking in the ways that Hollywood taught you to think. We have to stop being so fucking short-sighted. And it always goes back to the same thing. Being able to take care of yourself. Learn to take care of yourself. Skills. Skills.